Okay, thank you very much. I think that we can move on to the first discussion, to the first roundtable. You can see here already Clarissa that will moderate this first discussion. Just to introduce her to all the participants, Clarissa is a senior researcher and a project leader in the Karlsruhe Institute of Technology, KIT, sorry for my bad pronunciation, from Germany. And despite also their main focus that is related to nanotechnology and nanofabrication, she has also lots of research activities and interest related to knowledge transfer and open innovation on Industry 4.0. So I think that it will well represent also CEUPA as moderator for this roundtable. So I leave the floor to you also for the introduction of the other panelists.
Thank you, Elena. Thank you very much for introducing myself. So we're ready to start the first round table, and I would welcome our panelists to switch on their cameras so that the attendees might see who the names will correspond to. Thank you also that I can see you. A warm welcome. So the first round table is going to be focusing on inter-regional activities, ongoing initiatives in artificial intelligence, and the colleagues from AFIL kindly invited me to moderate this discussion. They've collected a nice panel of experts, and I'm just going to go through and introduce you first, and then we will have short presentations by each of the panelists presenting what's going on in the different regions, and then we'll start with a round of interactive discussions and hopefully lively contributions. So first off, first participant of our panel is Giacomo Copani, and I apologize also for bad pronunciations for the different names, so please apologize. Giacomo is a cluster manager at AFIL, so the organization of today's event, and he's also a senior researcher at the CNR Institute STEMA. He has been active within the Vanguard initiative, coordinating a pilot action on efficient and sustainable manufacturing, and has also been working and designing across the S3 policy. So there is a lots of expertise and content coming from his side. Next on our panel is Martin Dan. He's representing the Pannon Business Network, where he's an international project manager. And he's also, well, PBN in short, they're coordinating the artificial intelligence working group situated in the Danube region. So that means covering the countries from Austria to Bulgaria, Croatia, parts of Germany, Czech Republic, Hungary, and Romania. Then we have Joan Maas. Sorry for that name. I wasn't sure about the pronunciation. He's currently the director of the digital division of Eurecat in Catalonia, Spain. He's been very active in the field of research and development. He's been working at the European Space Agency and is now focusing his activities on the development of digital-based technologies. Next is Gustavo Del Marco. He's a researcher or an associate researcher on the topic of Industry 4.0 at the Institute for Systems, Computer Engineering, Technology and Science in Portugal. And as he's based on research organizations, of course, he's focusing or dedicating his work in R&D projects related to space and IT. He's also an associate professor at the business school located there. And brings in his expertise in those areas. And last but not least is Vim De Kinderen. Wim is representing today the Brainport Eindhoven EU office situated in Brussels. And sitting in Brussels means he's usually more involved in terms of policies, supporting economic stakeholders, working towards policy lobbying and focusing on the area of ICT technologies. So I hope I briefly got the backgrounds of our panelists. and more will probably come later on anyways. I would now ask you to start with a short presentations, and we probably can go in the same direction, meaning starting off with Giacomo first, please.
Thank you very much, Clarissa, for your nice introduction, and a warm greeting to all the friends that are connected to the meeting. So let me just share some slides. Can you properly see them? Just give me a confirmation.
Well, I can see the slide, but it's in presenter mode, so you might switch the mode.
I switched it. Okay. So just very shortly from my side, because we have 5 minutes. First of all, a few words about the organization I represent. It is a cluster, it is a regional technology cluster, in this case of Lombardy region. We represent the area of advanced manufacturing of Lombardy. We include about 140 members in our region. They are universities, research centers, and companies and associations. And of course, on the one hand, our main stakeholder is the regional government of Lombardy, but on the other hand, the activities of the cluster span towards the national level. For example, we are a founding member of the national cluster on advanced factory in Italy, and in this way we influence also the national level, bringing, of course, the regional specialization, and then we interact at different levels with the European Commission, also through interregional networks, such as the Vanguard initiatives or the Vanguard initiative or the S3 platform on smart specialization. And we are also an advanced manufacturing hub of the World Economic Forum. This is AFIL. Now, what about AFIL and artificial intelligence? So in our cluster, we have, we call it strategic community on artificial intelligence. In fact, it is a working group. It is a working group with members that have artificial intelligence as a priority. So they come together and they exchange experience, they do training, they conceive and implement projects. They favor the innovation uptake of technologies on artificial intelligence. So it is a sort of internal organizational unit working on artificial intelligence. And with this group, we are doing a very important experience in the moment in Lombardy, because we are writing the Lombardy roadmap on artificial intelligence. When I say we are writing, it means that our cluster was asked to coordinate the work for the roadmap, but we are not writing it alone as a cluster. First of all, the contents, they come from our members, but not only from our members, also from organizations external to the cluster, but relevant in the region. For example, digital competence centers, digital innovation hubs, the Lombardy region itself, and other relevant initiatives we have here on artificial intelligence. This roadmap is supposed to collect all the priorities on artificial intelligence of regional industry in all the branches. So at the end, this roadmap will become a document of the regional government upon which policies will be based, and consequently also funding will be addressed. It will be ready, we hope, by this summer. How did we proceed, and are we proceeding to do that? First of all, we started from what is already existing at European level and national level. What are the roadmaps, what are the priorities, and so on. But especially, there was a very big bottom-up activities where we worked with companies of all the relevant specialization sectors in Lombardy, machinery, textiles, white goods, aerospace, and so on and so forth. And for each of these sectors, we derived the priorities, the barriers, and the challenges in terms of artificial intelligence. Then we generalized vertical findings, and we came to the priorities of the roadmap. So the priorities, they are classified into priorities for smart products, smart factories, and smart value chain. This is the methodology we used. All the relevant initiatives at regional level, they are the ones that we are doing together with the Lombardy regional government in the frame of some inter-regional big initiatives, such as the Vanguard Initiative, the 4 Motors of Europe, and the Smart Specialization Platform of the European Commission. In particular, on the Vanguard Initiative, we are co-coordinating one of the pilots of Vanguard, which is called Efficient and Sustainable Manufacturing. These are the regions that participate to this pilot. And in particular, inside this pilot, we have a demo case. We call it demo case. It is a sort of sub-project whose title is Digital Transformation. So in this demo case, we are targeting uptake projects of innovative technologies, always dealing with artificial intelligence, which are based on network of demo centers and pilot plants. I'm sure the colleagues, and especially Wim, will tell something more about Vanguard. But this is very important for us because this is in fact an internationalization of the regional activities of our group. And then let me finish this small presentation mentioning the H2020 project, which is called AI Regio. It is a project that was conceived in the frame of our regional working group. It is currently coordinated by one Lombardy stakeholder. And this project aims at doing experiments in artificial intelligence involving companies that can provide use cases in different sectors and applications. Life cycle management of product engineering, factory efficient manufacturing, quality control, and robotics and human interaction. This is another important experience in the frame of artificial intelligence. And then this was my last point. I will be available for eventual interests and questions.
Yeah, thank you, Giacomo. Very, very nice presentation. Also, it looks like you're quite busy with the road mapping activities, and there will be interesting things coming out, I'm sure, that can be used by other regions as well. So I would hand over the microphone to Martin from Hungary. So Martin, if you want to start your short presentations, please go ahead.
Okay, just let me share my presentation within a few seconds. Can you see it?
Yep, I can see the presentation in full mode. Thank you.
Perfect. So, as you anticipated, Clarissa, I'm representing PBN, and I'm an international project manager at PBN. And as you also mentioned, that our association is coordinating the artificial intelligence working group in the Danube region. So the first part of my short presentation is going to be about this working group, whereas the second part, in the second part of my presentation, I will be explaining our local strategy, which is called the Sommathely 2030 and has AI relevance and AI elements. Okay, so just a few words in connection with the Danube region and the Danube region strategy. Some of you may know, but the Danube strategy has 12 priorities. Here you can see on the left-hand side the different priorities in different areas. What I would like to highlight is the priority area 8, which is called the competitiveness of enterprises. And within this priority area, there are 5 different working groups, which is coordinated by different partners, and one of them, namely the artificial intelligence, is coordinated by PBN. So this is just a short overview how the Danube region strategy looks like. And as far as the members are concerned, at the moment we have 19 organizations within the partnership regarding the artificial intelligence working group. These 19 organizations come from 9 countries. And here you can see the table the exact partners. Some of them are also CEP partners as well, so there are some overlappings, and it is important to mention that this list is not finalized, or never finalized, because it is constantly expanding. So new members can also join if they are part of the Danube region. Okay, some words regarding the main objectives of the working group. Here you can see some the summary. So mainly the most important is to foster the application of AI in the Danube region, and in order to do that, our aim is to address different types of representatives in the region and bring together organizations and stakeholders in order to foster the AI enhancement and AI development and innovation in the Danube region. That's why our partnership consists business support organizations, universities, and different other stakeholders in order to have expertise from different target group. And white papers regarding AI enhancement have been also prepared, and just a few sentences regarding this white paper. The first version of the white paper was prepared 2019, when the whole working group was established. However, the COVID situation, the COVID-19 situation affected the AI enhancement in the Danube region. So this preliminary strategy was updated and finalized in the end of last year. And here you can see some sessions from the white paper. So it starts with a definition and some introduction in connection with AI. And what is more important is that it consists a policy and strategic background of the AI and the Danube region, and the economy and innovation in the Danube region. And one of the main sessions is that the AI related R&D and innovation in the Danube region, and it also consists of some perspective for AI-supported economic development in the region. So it is a kind of comprehensive white paper, and can be considered rather up to date, because it includes the COVID measurement and the COVID effect. And regarding our planned next steps, of course, we are open for new proposals in connection with AI, not only in the Danube region, not only in the Danube program, sorry, but also in the other program areas as well. There's a dedicated session in the Danube strategy, which is called Action 5, is to enhance the application of AI. And of course, we are in contact with the coordination with the coordinators of the priority area 8 in order to get new inputs, new opportunities, which are also shared with the working group members. So this was my first session of my presentation, the AI working group, and just very shortly that a few sentences about the Sombathely 2030 strategy, which is a local strategy which was finalized last year after a 2-year process with the stakeholders. And here you can see that I have highlighted that this has the strategy has 2 priorities. One of them is the industrial digitalization. The other one is the complex rehabilitation, and the robotization, the automation, and the artificial intelligence is also highlighted and mentioned in this strategy. So the upcoming years will or the for the strategy involves a lot of measures which are planned to be implemented in the upcoming few years. Okay, and just okay, go on. As I have mentioned, the elaboration of this strategy was or took place approx 2 years, and it started with the new elected city management in October 2019, and after that we have been cooperating with the policy stakeholders, the mayor and the councillor of the city, and due to their cooperation, this strategy could be finalized and could be developed and could be finalized, and it was finalized in the late summer last year, and it was also signed by these stakeholders, not only by the city but the other stakeholders who were contributing, so universities and other organizations. And it was also presented to the national government, who also advocated this regional strategy. So we have this national positive background as well. And here you can see some flagship projects which have been defined in the strategy. So I do not want to go into details, but just highlight some of them. So for example, the Robotics and AI Center establishment also belongs to the flagship projects. For example, the launching individual R&D projects, and US ecosystem development cooperation, and an intelligent senior room building, which has been set up in our premise, and the digital health twinning program, and so it is a kind of comprehensive strategy containing several flagship projects. So yeah, this can be considered rather ambitious, but our plan is to implement all of these measures which are defined in the strategy. So yes, thank you very much for the opportunity to take part here, and this was my last slide, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Martin, for the very comprehensive overview on what is happening in the Danube region and also in Hungary. I would then hand over the microphone, so we're going to switch from Hungary to Spain, to Joan Maas. And I'm not trying to pronounce the second surname, so because that will only have end up in a mess. Yeah. So Joan, the floor is yours. Please start, and if you can manage to keep in time with the 5 minutes, that would be great, so that we can have more time really for discussions later on. Thank you. Joan, I can't hear you, and if in case, I think you're still muted.
Okay, it's okay now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay,
I can hear you now. Thank you.
So I'll try to be real fast. And okay, first of all, Eurecat is a technology center. We are based in Barcelona, but we are operating all over Catalonia. And we are multidisciplinary. We are working in different type of technologies, industrial, biomedical, sustainability, and also we have a digital division with over 100 engineers working on data science and all these nice technologies that we are dealing with. Okay, so I have to explain what is the artificial intelligence strategy in Catalonia. Okay, this strategy has been put forward by the Catalan government, and it relates on 4 main pillars or branches. The first one deals with artificial intelligence research, and for that there's been created a kind of group which gathers most relevant universities in the country. Then there's been created as well an ethical observatory which deals with ethical aspects related to artificial intelligence. The third branch deals with entrepreneurial initiatives related to startups working on artificial intelligence. And the fourth one, which is the one I will try to explain in more detail, is what we call the Center of Innovation in Data Technologies and Artificial Intelligence, the CDI, where I am also as well taking the position of direction of this initiative. What is the CDI? The CDI is a public private initiative which has been sponsored, and it is sponsored by public administrations in Catalonia, like the Catalan government and the Barcelona City Hall, but gathers together a few private companies. You can see here Microsoft, NTT Data, SAP, SDG, etc., and also other technology centers and research centers relevant to this field in Catalonia. And the purpose of the CDI is to bring innovation based on data technologies and artificial intelligence technologies to the companies, to the administration, and in general to the Catalan society. So our focus is innovation. And we are working over three main axes: technology innovation, training, and outreach. And I will explain very quickly some of the initiatives that we are doing, because we try to be very, hands-on. So we want to do real things that we can touch with our hands or see with our eyes. Okay, for what concerns technology, we are implementing what we call large impact projects, and the objective of those large impact projects is to really show that with those technologies, data and artificial intelligence, we really can solve problems. And we want to show that this is possible. We want to show best practices, etc., etc. We define projects on verticals, like, for instance, what we did in 2021 last year. By the way, CDI started in 2020, so we are almost 2 years old already. So we were working on projects related to digital health, mobility, and tourism. And the idea, as I said, is that we want to bring those projects to the public. The projects are performed or implemented by the members of the CDI, but also we invite as well other type of companies, which are around our community, if I might say so. And the idea is that we want to explain those things publicly and be very, very open to the SMEs and companies and so on. We are also relatively active on what concerns training. We use the knowledge that we have with our members to put forward a number of master classes through the year. Last year we did 16 master classes, which are dealing with technology or business aspects related to data and artificial intelligence. We also do innovation workshops. Basically, here we take advantage of the presence of private companies in our association and the CDI, and we invite them to bring again to the public, to the general public, or more specialized public in that case, what are their offerings, what are their let's say what they can bring in order to help to expand and to foster innovation based on data and artificial intelligence. We also are making a mapping work. We have somehow a catalog map, a huge number of training and vocational training as well, that opportunities that we have all over the countries, most of them located in Barcelona and around the huge university network that we have in Barcelona, but also expanding all over the country. And of course, we put them on a website so that everyone can reach those things. And a very interesting thing that we are doing is we are writing white papers on artificial intelligence impact on different verticals. White papers are written, or we put together specialists, vertical specialists, and also technological specialists, administration, startups, etc. And we analyze how, for instance, artificial intelligence is in Catalonia regarding the mobility sector or the health sector or the creative industries. Those are the three white papers that we elaborated last year. And the interesting thing is that we present those white papers in public, and we bring the panelists, and we also make a kind of round table. And always after those round tables and those networking activities, there are initiatives that are coming out and that we try to elaborate further once we have completed with the writing of these white papers. We also do a lot of activities in terms of outreach. We have a congress what we call the Barcelona AI and Big Data Congress, which is a kind of milestone for the AI and data community in Catalonia. And we bring as well interesting speakers, but also the important thing is that we use this AI and Big Data Congress to show as much as we can proof of concepts which are brought by companies, SMEs, startups, etc., working in the area. Of course, we select them and we try that those presentations really deliver interest to the audience. But as I said, it's a very popular and very interesting congress. We will have the 8th edition next October. We also work and try to help the companies. We have created an auto-diagnose tool for the companies, for the SMEs, basically investigate what is their maturity level, and they can answer a number of questions in a web interface, and automatically they get a report that is generated based on their responses, and providing as well some ideas on some advices on how to continue to increase their knowledge and their capacities in the field of using technologies, data and artificial intelligence based technologies to solve their problems. We also map what we call the ecosystems, the artificial intelligence ecosystem. Both we try to map the companies that offer something, technology providers, and also companies, institutions that are requesting this kind of services or this kind of inputs, and we put them as well on a web interface. We work as well very closely with this artificial intelligence ethical observatory that is also part of the overall Catalan strategy, because we want to bring ethical aspects and all the activities that we do at CIDAI, basically or mainly on the projects that I was mentioning, on the implementation of the proof of concepts that we're doing, and so on. And finally, I would like to say that CIDAI is hopefully should be or will be, I hope, the node of the digital innovation hub for CAT, which is the proposal that Catalonia has brought to the recently finished call on European digital innovation hubs. This is a quite large concept of digital innovation hub with several verticals. You can see them here: high performance computing, photonics, etc. And the CIDAI will be the nodal, the focus point, or the axis where artificial intelligence and computer vision and data technologies will be in the form or offered in the form or in the frame of this digital innovation hub. And I think that this ends my presentation. I hope that I was quick, and thank you. And of course, I will take any question if they come later on. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Joan. You were quick. But there was a lot of information stored in your presentation. So I'm sure if the audience is interested, you can either share with them the links to your lovely pages or to the documents, in case they're available in English and not just maybe in Spanish.
No, they are actually, we work in 3 languages, Catalan, Spanish, and English, and we try to be, open and then try to deliver things in English when needed as well. Thank you.
Perfect. I'm sure that might be beneficial for a lot of us. Thank you. Right, now we would just go on from Spain to Portugal, the adjacent country. So I'm just feeling like a moderator on TV, like for the Eurovision Song Contest or something, jumping from country to country. Yeah. So Gustavo, I'm handing over the microphone to you, and you can start your presentation. Thank you.
Okay, let me share here. So I think you can all see my slides now. Okay, so Clarissa and Elena, thank you very much for inviting us to present our activities at this event. So I'm Gustavo Del Marco, I'm a researcher from INESC, as Clarissa has already mentioned. And I'm here to present ours and the activities of our Digital Innovation Hub, Produtech, the Digital Innovation Hub. So, oops. Okay. Yes. Here, just giving this short introduction and the division of the 2 activities, because, well, INESC is a research and technology organization. We are based in the north of Portugal, so I have 6 different sites here. As a whole, we are 13 R&D centers and more than 700 researchers in 4 main areas. Here we have in the area of computer science, where the main activities of artificial intelligence activities, I mean research in artificial intelligence is being conducted. Also at the Industrial and Systems Engineering Center, that's where I'm located. And here we work on a higher TRL level, so applying artificial intelligence initiatives into companies' challenges and activities. So we are part of Produtech. Produtech is the consortium of 19 entities encompassing the different kinds of clusters, science and technology parks, technology centers, RTOs, universities, and also other teaching and professional qualifying centers. So Produtech has a national dimension. So just to reinforce this, before we had some regional initiatives, but last year also as a review for the European Digital Innovation Hubs calls, we organized Produtech as a national digital innovation hub. So we have partners on the different regions of Portugal to offer support and services to the companies on the different regions. Our main mission here is to support the adoption of Industry 4.0 and circular economy methods, so aiming mainly for the production technology sector, and also these reaching manufacturing industry sectors as a whole. Okay, so regarding our national initiatives, sorry, I have this screen just in front of my presentation. I'm trying to move it from side to side just to see what I'm saying. So regarding our national programs, so this year was a very important year when Portugal has, we had finished several national initiatives in the past 2 years, and this year we're launching new initiatives aiming for a broad range of technologies, which includes AI. So the 2 main activities that we are working on initially is the recovery and the resilience plan. So here, national government is supporting several projects into all the industrial sectors, many of them aiming for the digital transition. And here we are working with solutions based on artificial intelligence, also aiming for their resilience and, of course, climate change aspects. We also have the Portugal 2030, which will be launched now in July, which also emphasizes green, social, and smart digitalization of the manufacturing companies and the different sectors in Portugal. So here again, we are running several activities which aim to transfer and to apply artificial intelligence into different kinds of challenges we are evaluating. These 2 programs, they also have specific policies for digital innovation hubs. So Produtech Digital Innovation Hub is also working and supporting initiatives in these 2 programs. Besides that, so as Giacomo already mentioned about the AI-Regio project, so Produtech is one of the partners of this project. We are working in 2 sets of activities. The first one is about the development of new services based in the AI strategy of companies. So we are developing models for training activities and the AI skills strategy development. So evaluate which is the company's strategy and how can we provide activities, training, and support for them to reach this strategy. We also developing AI maturity assessment, as it was presented also here. So we are running a national one to evaluate the maturity level of Portuguese companies. In addition to that, still at AI-Regio, we are working on the data factory at the Industry and Innovation Lab here at INESC Tech. So just quickly mentioning, so this laboratory is a showcase for advanced technologies. Here we want to present what has been developed in national and also European R&D projects, mainly for technology demonstration, consulting activities, R&D dissemination, and professional training. So here again, we can show what we are developing in AI research and applications and demonstrate it not only for technology providers, but also for the different manufacturing companies that are part of Produtec. So IEG also have open calls for experiments in artificial intelligence. So besides iRadio, we are part of other European level initiatives, which we are bringing as a complementary activity of our Digital Innovation Hub. So for example, we are working with the initiative of applied artificial intelligence. So sorry, I forgot to add the name of the organization, and it's in German, so I probably won't read it correctly. But yes, besides that, we are also working with SCODIA-AgeNet, also network to support activities, digital transformation, and mainly now artificial intelligence for companies. We also part of the European Federation of Data-Driven Innovation Hubs, where we have open calls for services to companies. And here at Produtec, we have organized a different set of services based in AI that are now offered to companies who want to develop activities in this area. And we also, it's now already finished, but we were part of the AI DIH network. So we're part of this network, and also broadening our activities in AI, not only nationally, but also at European level. So this was it from my presentation. Sorry if I was too quick, but you have here my email if you have any questions or doubts, and I'll also be available here for the discussion later. Thank you.
Thank you, Gustavo. No, you were perfectly in time. And I think the initiatives that you showcase really demonstrate that networking is also kind of a key activity that is already luckily happening on a regional and also national and international level. So it's not nice to see that there's a lot going on. And with the point of networking, I think then we can go on to our last panelist's short presentation. So Wim, the floor is yours. And you can start with sharing your presentation.
Hi, do you see my screen, please?
Yes, yes, I can see your screen. It's not yet in the presentation mode, but
trying to fix that.
You might need to try again. It's, well, at least on my side, the screen hasn't changed. Yeah, now things look as they should.
All right, thank you for the invitation to have me here. I will be presenting to you a regional initiative, which is part of a national initiative. You see AI Hub Brainport, that's Brainport Eindhoven in the south of the Netherlands, partner of the NLAIC, that's the Dutch National AI Coalition. Because indeed, I should be able to. I'm trying to move my screen.
Yeah, I thought, Elena, maybe you can help him with some of the technical issues. I'm not sure where GoToMeeting has some manual navigation arrows. There might be some hidden somewhere in the surface of the tool.
I can share. Oh, okay.
It looks. So this is the panel about regional initiatives, and Giacomo, this will be one of the only presentations where I will not be talking about Vanguard, so sorry to disappoint you on that. However, there is of course the link, but that's not the core of my presentation here. So the Brainport AI Hub is part of the Dutch National AI Coalition, which was launched at the end of 2019, and which is not a central AI institute, but it's really a network of innovation, AI innovation ecosystems. The Netherlands, of course, is not such a big country, so in the objective of putting the Netherlands on the map, we felt all that it's useless to start putting all our energy in regional small hubs, but rather it's better to join forces and then find each other in each other's strengths. And that's exactly what we are doing, because the National AI Coalition is working on the 5 horizontal lines that you see here: human capital, research, innovation, data sharing, human-centric AI, important, as previous speakers have indicated as well, and then the startup and scale-up activities. And then on the vertical level, we have 13 application areas. You see a number mentioned here, but there are 13 in total. And within this matrix, you have the 7 regionally based AI hubs, where you see them here. And I'm sorry it's in Dutch, but they are nicely spread all over the country. The first one you see is indeed Brainport, and you see that they have different themes in their scope. This is the so-called hubs and spokes model, which means that every hub has its own core activities in which they are leading, and then they have a number of others in which they are participating. For example, Brainport is focusing on high-tech industry. We are taking the lead on the topic of high-tech industry, but it doesn't mean that every single activity as a part of the national coalition is done by Brainport partners or only within our region. This is activities we do with the other regions, in particular because on high-tech industry, then speaking about East Netherlands and South Holland, Randstad area, but we are taking the lead on that. So that's the hub, Brainport, with the spokes across the country. You see a few usual suspects like high-tech industry, indeed, mobility, medtech, the 3 from my region, but there's also peace and justice, for example, which is very much concentrated around The Hague with the International Court of Justice of the United Nations there. So also in that rather original topic, I would say, we are trying to contribute with our partners. So as said, in the Brainport-Eindhoven region, 3 main focus areas which we are leading within the country. Industry, that's mainly on predictive maintenance, on efficient production processes. Mobility is to a large extent concentrated on autonomous driving and connected driving. And in medtech, it's very much about imaging and cancer research, for example. But we are also engaged, but then not as a leader, in other application areas such as agro-food and defense, for example. An AI hub has 2 roles. Primarily, it has a regional function, which is all about community building. And then we are contributing to those 5 horizontal pillars that I outlined before. And then we have a national function because we are part of this national coalition, and we are also very active in facilitating the collaboration between the different hubs. The hub is basically a table of partners, which is building a cluster of companies on the developing side, so the technology developers, but also on the absorption side, the companies who need to integrate the AI applications within their business processes. And then around that, we have a community and a larger ecosystem, which is not purely company-based, but it all starts from that. Within the AI Hub Brainport, where you see that my organization, Brainport Development, which is the regional development agency, is the lead of the work package 7, the management, which includes the internationalization, which is my domain. You have a number of work packages which are all led by a certain organization within the region, again, taking the lead and involving, of course, all the other organizations within the region who are involved. And that's quite a number. If you know that on the national level, several hundreds of organizations are involved, and it's very easy to join that exercise, by the way. We also have tens and tens of organizations involved in our Brainport AI Hub. And I see the names of the packages in green are also not the most revolutionary ones, but are also key, of course. That's why they are not revolutionary, because they are central to the activity. We are a one-stop shop on the level of AI with many organizations that you see here. Many of the activities are also based in our campuses. We have the Brainport Industries campus on manufacturing. Quite a few people here in this call have know the Brainport Industries campus. I think have even visited in the last 2 years after it was launched. The mobility is very much concentrated in our automotive campus, etc., etc. And the one-stop shop terminology sounds familiar, of course, in the context of a digital innovation hub, a European digital innovation hub, like many of you also, we have applied a few weeks ago, and the core topic of our European Digital Innovation Hub is AI in high-tech manufacturing systems. So the AI of Brainport and the EDI in our region is very much aligned. Financially, we try to make use of the Dutch National Growth Fund, which is more or less the national version of the RRF, so the Recovery and Resilience Facility by the European Commission. It's a 20 billion fund from the national government, which is there to be distributed over the next 4 years, if I remember well. And we applied in the context of the national coalition with a proposal, and the first phase of that for 276 million has been approved, and we are now in the process of operationalizing the planning that we submitted for that funding. So we will be able to make use of that budget, and we are planning also to have a second and a third phase. In total, our financial requests amounts up to 1 billion euro, but the 276 million is now secured. And that was my basic introduction, and I'm very happy to listen to your feedback and questions.
Thank you, Wim, for the nice overview, what your Brainport AI Hub is doing. That sounds like a big program to be tackled. So thank you to the speakers for their short presentations, and now it's the time to actively switch on your cameras, switch on your phones, because now the idea is to get a conversation going. I know we're running a bit late, but I just checked back with our organizers, so we still have 20 minutes time left to dedicate to talking about a few of the points that you have been addressing in your presentations. My first question to all of you is, since today the focus is on regional activities and it's about good practices, policy instruments, activities, could you briefly just summarize the activities that are happening in your regions, either related to funding programs or future strategies that are focusing on advanced manufacturing related technologies, and in particular, of course, on the AI focus? So just to get an overview of what is happening, or what you know from your experience and your connections will happen in the next few years. And I know a few of you have already mentioned that in your presentations. I'm sure the lovely Dutch funds that are to be shared with the companies and the researchers, that looks like a very promising activity to get that really, really going. So my question then, we start first far south. So maybe for Gustavo, sorry, I'm getting the G names mixed up. Gustavo, what is happening in your region in Portugal for that area? If you can sum that up for us.
So as I mentioned quickly before, Portugal is starting this year with new programs for the following 5 to 10 years. So one of them is the Recovery and Resilience Plan, which is also being run in other regions as supported by the European Commission. And these and the Portugal 2030, so they are very broad initiatives. But one of the key drivers of these two programs is the digital transition and smart digitalization. So here, INESC Tech and Prototech DIH, we are focusing on activities mostly based on AI. But of course, not all companies have the necessary competencies to already start developing AI. So we also have an eye on the digitalization process and other smaller initiatives. but we consider AI as the new, not only us, but in our strategies, we try always to push activities that will prepare companies to further develop AI in their products or processes.
So are there any specializations related to the different manufacturing sectors, or is there a specific focus that you can identify from the strategies that are going to be implemented in the next few years? Or is it just more of a broader picture, really?
Yeah, as well. These two are very broad programs, even though they have some lines specific for manufacturing companies. The drivers of, let's say, AI initiatives depends on their RTOs like INESC and other activities guided by Prototech DIH. So, of course, that depends on the challenges each consortium wants to address, but they are very broad and open initiatives for the development of solutions in digitalization technologies, which includes AI.
Thank you. So how does that compare to what's happening in Spain? So Joan, you mentioned also a lot of activities
yes.
happening and triggered by the Catalonian region, especially from your CIDAI organization.
Yes, that's true. Okay, I mean, the activities that we are doing at CIDAI are partly somehow financed by public budget coming from the Catalan government. It's not a very huge amount compared, for instance, to other regions, but also there is, in our particular case, we also have private companies, and those private companies, you know, help and contribute both in cash and also in kind to the activities that we are doing. But in addition to this, and because this is very specific to the activities of the CIDAI in the frame or within the frame of the artificial intelligence strategy, the Catalan government also has different type of programs. I don't know if the word coupons has been mentioned earlier, but there is, you know, a combination by the Department of Digital Policies and the Department of Industry and Innovation. So they set up a program based on coupons, which and the idea is to help real SMEs, And for instance, last year the coupons had two focus. One was a kind of diagnosis, so the company can, through the coupon, can get the assistance of specialists, usually a research and technology organization or consulting organizations that will help the SME to perform a diagnosis of their status for what concerns digitalization and digital transformation, because I think that both things are different, are not exactly the same. And also there was a possibility to, another type of coupon that was the possibility to implement real proof of concept or do kind of experimentation, always in the frame of digital technologies related or around the concept of Industry 4.0. That was the focus. And the coupons were not very high, very large in terms of financing. I think that maximum amount was in the order of 20K. But we have to keep in mind that we are addressing SME company, small and medium companies, SME, really small companies, which we have a lot in Catalonia. And this type of amount to a start was not bad. This year, they have increased the budget for this type of activities, and they are also foreseeing, it's not in place because it's going through legal issues and administrative issues, but the idea is to set up again a coupon program with a larger amount of money for each coupon, and now trying to go to real implementation of solutions based on technology, and probably would be in the order of 100 or 150 kilo euros for 1 year program. And of course, we also have access to programs, similar programs that are produced at the Spanish level, and also in Spain, as our colleague from Portugal was mentioning, we are also, you know, working or trying to see how this next generation funding will be implemented in Spain. But this is mainly now, it's not clear at all. And most of the decisions will be taken by the central government in Madrid, and we will see how this, you know, expands and get spread throughout the country. But basically, those are the things that I can tell you right now.
Okay, so you have there are different programs running on regional, national level. So, but there is communication between organizations or initiatives such as yours and the governing bodies on how to best match the different programs.
Yes.
So.
Yes, and just to give you a very short example, for instance, my organization, Eurecat, which is, you know, leading the CIDI, but also is the technology center, as I explained earlier, has been entrusted by the Spanish central government a program to do, I don't know exactly the name of the program because it's dealt by some colleagues of mine, but the idea is to work throughout the country and, you know, providing a small, very small diagnosis to SMEs. And that means that there is a connection between the central government and the scattered governments around the country.
Interesting. So how does that compare to the situation in the Lombardy region? So Giacomo, you're the expert of and involved in different policy actions, working with the companies and also with the policymakers. So if you look at your situation, what is happening in Italy, and how does that compare to what the colleagues from Spain and from Portugal have reported?
Well, I would say that at the moment, the major opportunity of movements we have, they are dealing with the pandemic recovery plan, which are at national level, but there is a big participation of the regions, thus also of Lombardy region. Of course, the regions, they are continuing with their policies. For example, in Lombardy now, a new action was launched to consolidate supply chains around strategic topics such as AI. But there are big resources put at national level for the recovery plan. For example, we have open measures. When I say open, it means that are currently open the calls for proposals. In Italy, they decided to concentrate very big initiatives. So one is called extended partnerships. They are going to find 15 partnerships at national level. One of these partnerships will be on artificial intelligence. And so there are several topics already predefined. One will be artificial intelligence. These will be partnerships of mainly universities and research centers, so a very big research orientation. Hub and spoke model. Each of these partnerships will have a budget of at least 80 million euros, 80, from 80 to 160. They will have at least 250 units of personnel, so very big things. What I'm mentioning is dealing with more basic research. Then there is another line of funding, which is dealing with a bit higher TRL, but medium, let me say, TRL, where they have defined already competence centers at national level on precise topics. There will be 5 funded at national level. One of these will be on simulation, computing, and data analysis. There is a third measure inside this recovery plan, which has a more regional dimension. It is called ecosystems for innovation. And there the idea is to work at higher TRL with regional ecosystems on topics that are not predefined. Obviously, there are regions such as Lombardy in which there were proposals applying in the area of manufacturing and of artificial intelligence. So to summarize, at the moment, the biggest possibilities for innovation, research, and implementation of artificial intelligence, they are linked, as I hear in all countries, to the pandemic recovery plan. Here there was a decision to concentrate very big initiatives with a very clear research that are very clearly research driven. I didn't mention that all these initiatives will imply cascade funding for companies, but the leading is always on the research and academia side. Then at the level of the topics, so this is how we implement, okay, funding opportunities. At the level of the topics in our regions, we are defining them through our roadmap, but what I can anticipate is that artificial intelligence will be really finalized to the innovative management of factories and production systems. When I say innovative management, it means remote management. Think about the post-COVID. It means about remote servitization of machines that are exported, artificial intelligence in favor of all the safety factors that are needed in the production in the post-COVID areas, and so on and so forth. So we have defined, and we are defining also very specific topics for investments.
Yeah. That sounds a bit like also what Wim has presented about the Dutch strategy, pouring a lot of funding into in the next years. So Wim, was also of your program, was that more research oriented, or is that kind of trying to cover whole value chains, kind of from primary research to really the applications?
It's the whole spectrum indeed. So the budgets that are mentioned before are of course not the ones we know in the Netherlands. Nevertheless, we're very happy with that. You also may know that we're the only country who has not even applied for the RRF funding, so that's related to slow government coalition talks. Now we have a government and they should submit a plan. The Netherlands in total is entitled to receive 6 billion from RRF, so we hope also there to still get something for AI. I mentioned the National Growth Fund. That is, to complete the question, that is indeed very much aligned with regional government interventions. And our provincial government has co-funded the EDI, which is on AI. And there are also possibilities definitely to complement that in the upcoming years. Also, and lastly, all of this with the clear intention to leverage all of this regional and national funding with European additional funding. So that's also a clear intention to make this province, national level, and then European level complementary to each other.
Yeah, I think that what all 4 of you already have mentioned. I think all of the topics, they clearly show the regional component plus the opportunity to connect the activities happening across the different regions, because they can be beneficial, they can be complementary. So I'm not sure, Dan, are you still with us? Because I would love to hear also kind of what the situation or for the next steps are in Hungary, because we've had more of the Western European countries giving us the feedback, and I mean Hungary is a very nice representative of what's happening more in the Eastern countries related to AI and future strategies.
Yes, it was very good to hear what is happening in Portugal, Spain, and in the Netherlands. Yes, and the recovery fund has been mentioned several times, but if I'm not mistaken, Hungary is not applicable for this because of political reasons. But I'm not sure about that. Regarding the policy instrument in connection with AI, I'm just looking for the national strategy, which was launched by the government 2020, and it also includes some measures. And 1 year after this AI national strategy, our RICH 3 strategy was launched, which is for 2021 until 2027. It was launched a little bit later, but at least we have this updated version, and it also defines artificial intelligence in different areas as a key factor. And what why are they important, these national strategies? Because in our local strategy, which I presented, this SOMATE 2030 has to be in line with these national initiatives and national programs and strategies, and within these or the measures which are defined in the SOMATE 2030 strategy, we need to find sources, of course, and it is not easy in some manners, but as I have seen the sources, maybe the operational programs, the national operational programs, but also European collaborations like Horizon Europe, Central Europe, Danube, Danube are also or can be considered an initiative which can support AI in our region. So that's why we would like to take part in AI related European projects in order to support our stakeholders, mainly the companies. But of course, some measures can be implemented using these operational programs defined in the SOMATE 2030 strategy. So we are walking with open eyes, so to say, and find the sources which can be which can support the AI development in the region.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like you're very active or trying to get in touch. So what I've taken from all of your presentations, because we're kind of at the end of our discussion, and just as a last point, so we've seen there's a lot happening on a regional or national level, and most or all of you have mentioned the European Digital Innovation Hubs, which had the application deadline. So just brief answers, because I think we need to finish in the next few minutes. Are there any other activities happening besides European funding programs or the digital innovation hubs that you are, or that you foresee, or that you are active in connecting the AI activities across Europe or even beyond Europe in your regions? And the floor is open, so whoever wants to speak first can just switch on the microphone. And I think Wim was first, so he can start off first.
Basically confirming what Giacomo has been saying before. In this respect, of course, networks like the Vanguard Initiative, and in particular the Digital Transformation Demo Case within the ESM pilot, the AI pilot, we have a whole pilot on AI, is very instrumental. The Wireless ICT partnership, which is outside of Vanguard, but which has the same methodology. It's one of these smart specialization partnerships. Those are the fora where we try to find the partners and try to plug in our regional programs, of course, to find the communalities and then build things together. Yeah.
Thanks, Wim. And Joan was second in switching on his microphone, so I'm guessing he has also something to share.
Yes. I just wanted to mention that, well, currently, right now, we are building the Spanish hub on Gaia X. Probably, well, we are a little bit behind this. I know that has already been created in other countries, but it has taken quite a long time. We have been almost 1 year, deciding how this hub is going to be created. But now, definitely, this next week, it will be fully approved. And the important thing is that now there's a lot of work going on the definition of data spaces at Spanish level, which I guess that we will have some connections as well with the data spaces at European level. But and also one of the fields, important fields, verticals on the data spaces is the industrial data spaces, and this is now happening right now here in Spain.
Okay, thank you. Any of the others still want to add something? If not, And I don't see any switch on microphones. That leaves me to thank you all very much for your nice presentations, your feedback, even if we had a bit of a time issue, but this is what usually happens. I think you've mentioned in your presentations a lot of information that might be of use for the participants, and I'm sure Elena will share details so that you can exchange separately after the workshop to continue the discussions, and maybe you have new ideas on how to connect to each other. Thank you very much for your participation today.